Well, many believe the only way to end the fighting in Afghanistan is to gain the trust of everyday Afghans by improving their lives. A delicate balancing act for American soldiers and Marines faced with protecting themselves while also carrying out any number of humanitarian efforts. Marine Colonel Gregory Brazil is the Director of Communication for the NATO training mission in Afghanistan, and earlier I was able to visit with the Marine veteran and native Oklahoman via the internet. Colonel Brazil, it's now been close to a year since you were first deployed to Afghanistan. In that time, what are some of the major reflections that you have?
Well, I look back and I look at we've achieved quite a bit this year. I look at the how much I've learned personally about this country and about how this country is a crossroads of Asia, a blending of different cultures. And I've looked at how our mission has grown and the importance of our mission to a successful transition to Afghan-led operations here.
Speak to me, if you will, a little bit about the culture of Afghanistan and what that has meant for the mission.
Yeah, Afghanistan's pretty complex. I mean, there's a variety of different languages. There's a variety of different beliefs. There's different tribal structures. And so it's not as simple as calling Afghanistan one whole necessarily right now, in that it's many, many complex parts working together. And then it causes understanding of some basic things to be very complex. When you have people that are uneducated, you have various beliefs of what women can do and can't do in society. And when you have language barriers, even amongst people that live over the next ridge line, it complicates how we operate in this country. So it's not a simple environment that we have to deal with.
I want to talk a little bit more about the educational levels. Has, in fact, the lack of education let the Taliban prey on the poor and the uneducated?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's much easier to manipulate uneducated people. They believe what they hear. They can't read for themselves. They have no other outlets to get information. And because they're a tribal society with village elders that have much influence over what happens and the information that's given to the people, those tribal leaders become the source of authoritative information. And if you've got tribal leaders that are worried more about their own influence in society than society as a whole, then it can cause some serious problems. But education is the biggest challenge we face in Afghanistan as a whole. If we could educate the people, the success for Afghanistan's future will be much brighter than it is even today.
So, final question. Is it fair to say that this is a conflict that we certainly can't win alone, and it's going to take the winning of both hearts and minds of the Afghan people?
Yeah, we're not going to win it. The Afghan people have to decide. This is an Afghan problem. The Afghan people will decide and will determine the fate of Afghanistan. We're here as an enabler to them. We do need to provide them some measure of security so that they can have confidence in the future. And really it's about perception. Some people right now are still hedging their bets that the Taliban are going to come back into power, so they're siding with them. Others are hedging their bets that we're going to be successful here. And so we have, even internal to some families, you have one brother deciding to join the security forces and another brother deciding to go support the Taliban. It's a difficult situation, but I think overall, if we provide additional security forces here, we give them a measure of security in their communities, we professionalize those forces, then things will change, and then people will become more confident in their government lived through a lot of war. They've lived through the loss of family members, and they're not sure. Most Afghans can't see the future because all they've known is one conflict after another. And really, we've got to give them more sense of security so they have hope for the future and side with their government and with us. And in the end, they will decide who wins this conflict.
Well, Colonel Brazil, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your service to our country.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to the people back in Oklahoma. I really appreciate it.